I'm here to talk about my second life with Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism. Some of you know I have it, some of you don't know that. In any case, you may have noticed that my personality tends to stand out. I'll give some of the reasons why that might have been leading up to today. And I can't see my slide thing yet. It hasn't even rezzed for me. So that's embarrassing, but embarrassment is also part of my progress here, and taking that with a great deal of humility and humor. Oh, it just rezzed. Yes, thank you. Excellente. Okay, so moving forth, if you can see this first slide, it's pictures of me as a child. I was somewhat of a stereotype because I'm like the Asian kid who played piano. That's sort of a joke, isn't it? And well, my mom got me into piano when I was very young. I was definitely thrilled to learn all the basics, and I accumulated those skills very quickly. So what ended up happening was my mom noticed that I behaved very strangely at times. And specifically by that, I mean that I would sit in corners, I would talk a lot for long periods of times, and other times I would be very quiet. And I would talk not in sentences, but these long, rambling, even incoherent sentences. Something I've improved over the years. But when I was young, it was like this massive outer run-on sentence. But music helped me a lot with that, because music was like a creative gateway. It helped me with phrasing, with tempo. Because I learned early on, you don't have a sense of rhythm, whether it's in comedy, telling jokes, or in music, your life without timing is going to suck. So I don't know how better to say it than music beyond words. Because I was not so good with the words themselves, I took a long time to learn that, and I did become a good writer. But my speech, even today sometimes when I get really excited, I talk really, really fast like I am now. And then my mom, she used to read books about gifted children and all that. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is yet. I'm going to find out about that later in my life. And I went through some rough times. Before finding out about my second life, I had problems because, let me just change this here. Yes, slidey. Okay, my wife says I got to turn around and face you. That's right. I just got to move my camera. That's one kind of noobish behavior, I guess, that I'm reversing to, is turning my back. I shall not turn my back to you. But here's what happened. In the period from around 2000, the year 2000 to 2004, I got very depressed for a number of reasons. One of them being because my dad, he passed away. And also because I used to be an electronic music producer, because all those years of music had led me to making techno and classical music, basically. Had a great fun with a lot of that, did a lot of independent consulting. Unfortunately, though, I had hyperacusis, and my hearing went bad. Hyperacusis, for those of you who don't know what that is my hearing is hypersensitive, and I hear things, the frequency range is distorted. So it's sort of like things sound like they're always underwater, which is really annoying. And I've grown more resilient to it, but if there's times when I can't hear you in voice chat, when it should be really obvious and stuff, that's why. So as a result, I discontinued my music career, unfortunately, and you can imagine I got really, really depressed because of this, because up to that point, music was my main focal interest. I did a lot of other things, but music was the main thing. I went to the local library, and I read a lot of books about transhumanism and cyberpunk, because I'm a big fan of a lot of sci-fi, and cyberpunk specifically, what's going to happen, not in the far, far off future, but what might happen in the year, say, 2025, 2050. I really loved the game Deus Ex. Some of you might know that. Really influential first-person shooter. But one thing really important in that game is it's not just about killing. It's about finding alternate paths. And it was very, very influential that way. You can get through most of the game without killing anyone. So in the course of reading these cyberpunk books, I came across Neil Stephenson's, no, not Snow Crash. I came across The Diamond Age. I actually didn't read Snow Crash until much later on. And then I was reading William Gibson as well, Neuromancer. And when I was looking online, I felt lonely because I wanted to share this interest with other people. And I was like, to that point, I had been on a lot of internet forums, a lot of BBSs, and I was like, heck, you know, I've frequented a lot of them. What else can I do, though? And I want to share this with people, and then I found out about blogs like New World Notes. That is what introduced me to Second Life. And I began, as you can see on this slide, I began with a female avatar. That's my first and my second life selves. And then I just got into it. The very first things I decided to do were things that I had trouble with in my life, my first life. That is socializing. I was always very awkward, very shy. You might not imagine it, but it's because I practiced so much. It's day-by-day experience. So my very first day, it was September 15, 2004. Yes, it's going to be my fourth Res Day soon. And I jumped right into trivia. I jumped right into all the social games. I jumped into gestures, into nightclubs, into every single darn social activity in Second Life, and talked to as many people as I could. Even though it was just text chat at the time, that's what I knew I had to do. And I became increasingly comfortable and more confident because of that. I went into sandboxes even.